If you have a Proffie board lightsaber and you're struggling to get your head around how to change the sound fonts, stick around. I'm going to show you a little bit of a cheat. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm sorry that I've left it a little bit longer than usual between work and the fact that I had my COVID vaccine a couple of days ago. I've been a little bit under the weather with that, nothing too major, a bit of a fever, aches and pains, kind of flu-like symptoms. Lost my sense of taste and smell for a day or so, but I'm feeling a lot better now. So yeah, today we're going to go over the Proffie board sound font replacement hack that I spoke of in my Leia review. If you haven't seen that, as always, I'll put a little link above there. So yeah, essentially, for those of you who have a Proffie board, or for those of you who are looking at getting a Proffie Saber, you may or may not know that it's not as simple as buying new sound fonts and just dragging and dropping them onto the SD card. Why, you ask? Well, essentially, I'm going to pull up this Proffie config file. This is a config file for a Proffie board. It looks terrifying if you do not know what it is, and the first time I seen this about a month ago nearly, I'm not going to lie to you, I shit myself. Now that I know what it is and now that I understand what all of this is, it's not as bad. So essentially, when your lightsaber comes from whoever manufactured it or whoever programmed it, the Proffie board is programmed to look for certain master files which contain the sound fonts and all of the different sound files for that font. So for example, mine came preloaded with General Princess, and you can see that here, General Princess, and then it's got all the information for the colours and how the blade behaves, etc. The likes of Rogue Vader, LS6, Mace, Grand Master, TFA, Villain Hero, they are all ones I have added. Final Steps, Ascension, Traveller, they all came on there as well. So, what happens if, for example, you take the sound file for, let's say, Rogue Vader, and you just drop it onto your SD card? Well, it won't do anything, because the board is not programmed from the get-go to look for Rogue Vader, unless you actually add it to the config file and reprogram the board. But what you can do is you can replace the sound files from one of these fonts. That way the board is still recognising the master file, but it's only playing the sound fonts that you have then put in there. So it might seem a little bit weird, but I'll show you what I mean. So first and foremost, if you are going to be attempting this, please, for the love of God, before you attempt it, number one, remove your battery from your Saber before you remove the SD card, because it could corrupt it. Make sure, obviously, and I can't stress this enough, please get an SD card, a USB SD card adapter or reader, micro SD card reader. Some people use the ones that are built into the computers. I, in the past, have had so much hassle with built-in card readers that are in laptops and PCs. I always recommend getting a USB, just because I personally have only had 100% success with these, and I've never had an SD card corrupted with a USB reader. I don't know why that is. Is there something to it? Probably not, but it's just me being superstitious. So, what you're going to do is you're going to obviously make a copy of your Proffie file, or your Proffie SD card, sorry. So mine is called Proffie Backup. So just copy and paste into a new folder and keep that on your desktop. I've got it in here, Lightsaber Master. So in here I've got my KSith files, my backup files, and my master zip files for the KSith fonts that I have purchased. So the first step in doing this really is identifying the fonts that you like and identifying the fonts that you don't like. Out of those fonts, you want to identify, out of the ones you don't like, sorry, you want to identify also what blade colours come as standard in terms of programmed. So, for example, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a quick copy of these just so I can show you everything. Always make sure you've got a master copy, and if you're doing anything else, just make copies of the master copy. Always have an untouched master copy, so if something goes wrong, you have got a copy of this, the way it comes, to fall back on, and you're not basically up shit's creek without a paddle. So, now we've got our copies of our backup, and I've got a copy of my KSith file as well. So let's go into here. In fact, I'll open them both up actually. So, Proffie backup. So one that I identified that I wasn't too keen on was a font called Ascension. Ascension comes programmed for a green blade. So, what am I going to do with that? Well, what's got a green blade here? Grandmaster, that's a Yoda sound font. So we're going to open up Grandmaster, and you've got a lot of folders in here. And this looks very confusing, but it's really not. So let's open up Ascension. There's no folders in here, just sound fonts. So we'll go through them. BGN Drag, BGN Lock, BLST or Blast, Boot, Clash, Drag, End Lock, Font, Force, Hum, In, Lock, Out, Swing, Swing H, Swing L, Swing, just Swing, and these are all the sound fonts, the sound files, that make up this overall font. So if we start at the top, BGN Drag, there's 4 of these files, and if we look in this folder here, you'll find a BGN Drag folder. So we'll open that up, and there's also 4 sound files. So we're going to select them all, we're going to copy, and we're going to paste. You'll probably get this. This destination has 4 files with the same names, replace. And that's them all replaced. And we just repeat the process for every single one of these sound files. It is a little bit long-winded, but it doesn't take long because a lot of these files are grouped together in blocks of 4 or even up to blocks of 16. So BGN Lock, we'll find that one, BGN Lock. There's also 4. You can see here there's also 4 BGN Lock files. So again, we're going to go copy, and we're going to go paste. Replace name, replace files again, and that's that one done. BLST, there's 8 of those, so we'll go over here and find that folder, BLST. There's only 6 of them in here, so what we're going to do is we're going to copy and paste, and that will replace the first 6 files, but 7 and 8, we're going to delete them, and that's it. So what's next after BLST? We've got boot. So we'll go into boot, and there's 4 in here. So we'll copy, and we'll paste. Replace. And then we'll move on to Clash. Clash has got 16 sound files. And a lot of these guys really are, when you're doing this, a lot of these files really are one after the other in alphabetical order. So we'll copy, and again we'll paste and replace all 16 sound files. Done. Next one is drag. Just drag on its own. There's only one. That's perfect. Copy and paste. Oh, nope, undo. You don't want to paste a shortcut. You definitely don't want to do that. So let's do that again. Copy, paste, place. The next one is end drag. There's 4 of those. And again, it's just about repeating the process for each block of files until you make up your entire font. So again guys, like I said at the start of this, the Proffie board is still going to recognise the Ascension folder, because we're not going to rename this folder Grandmaster. We're going to keep it named Ascension because the board is looking for a folder called Ascension. It's just going to use these sound files rather than using the Ascension files. That's all we're doing here. It's not really overly complicated. The next one is end lock. We'll find that one here. There's 4 files. We'll copy. There's also 4 of those here as well, so it's a straight replacement. Paste. The next one is font. So this is the sound that plays when you select your font. Copy. And we'll just paste. Place. Force 1 and Force 2, so we'll find the Force file. Quite a lot of Force files here, so we'll copy all of them. Again, copy. And we will paste. Replace. Hum is the next one, so we're going to hum, and there's only one. There's also only one here as well, which is great. So it's just a straight up replacement. Don't have to delete anything else or tidy anything up. Next one is in, so that's your essentially your Saber deactivation sounds. There's the in folder here, and there's 2 of them. There's also 2 of them here. Again, this is just nice and easy guys. There's nothing really complicated about it. Lock is the next one. Again, we'll just go down the list. Lock, copy. There's only one, which is great. Paste. It's a straight up replacement yet again. Now, would I say just keep doing this? No, I wouldn't. What I would say to everyone is, if you don't really understand, you know, the methodology behind the Proffie board, don't let it put you off. Definitely learn how to do it all, and definitely learn how to use the style editor for configuring and programming your blades. And definitely learn how to do all of that. This is just essentially a quick little kind of bypass, so that whilst you're learning how to do that, and you have maybe bought sound fonts, you can still use them until you get a grasp on how to do everything essentially the proper way. So we're nearly at the end now. Swing L. There's 4 of those. It is quite a boring and tedious process. It's very repetitive. Oh no. Copy, paste. And then this is the last of it here. 16 files. Paste. Replace. Done. So essentially, this Ascension file is now the Grandmaster file. Essentially, that's what that is. So another example could be Smooth Grey, which is programmed to fire up with a purple blade. You can do the same process and do that for Mace, for Mace Windu. You know, I think Smooth Jedi fires up with a green blade. I believe I replaced that with LS6, which is Luke Skywalker from Episode 6, because it's basically like for like. You can just kind of go through what you want, guys, and replace it with essentially what you want. Rogue Commander I replaced with Rogue Vader because it's a red blade, red fire up, and I just followed the same process for that. Don't change the file names, keep them as they are, but keep maybe a note of what you've done to what file. Always have a master, I cannot stress this enough, always have a master backup file. Always have a master backup file. So for this video, I've gone into my master file and I've made copies of these files, which are these, so that I can demonstrate this. Always have a master backup file that is untouched, so that if anything goes wrong, you can just go like this. You can copy it, paste it onto your SD card, and you're back to stock, and then you can start again. That's really the most important thing about this process, guys. Even if you're just doing just kind of doing it the other way as well and messing around with different kind of blade styles and things, always make a master backup so that if anything goes wrong, you can revert back. If you do a new config file, again the same applies. Make a master backup of your config file and make a master backup of whatever your Proffie SD card will look like with that config file as well. Can't stress that enough, guys. Otherwise you're going to end up in a world of hurt and pain and just so much hassle. If anything goes wrong, you're not going to really believe. Trust me, I know, because I messed it up a couple of times, and if I hadn't have had that master file, I really would have been up shit's creek without a paddle. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this little tutorial on how to essentially replace the sound fonts and whatnot. If you have any questions or not sure of anything, please comment below. I'll always endeavour to get back to everyone. Like and subscribe. I just want to thank people for the kind words and the concern. Obviously I haven't been very well for the last couple of days because of that COVID injection. I would take this time though to say to people, you know, don't let things like that put you off. I have a very strong opinion about the vaccine. I know everyone else has opinions as well. You're more than entitled to it. This is just my opinion, but I wouldn't let that put you off. I feel so much better today. I want to thank everyone for the kind words of concern and support over the last kind of 48 hours. It was a bit of a rough ride, but we got there in the end. So yeah, listen guys, thanks for watching as always. Please subscribe, like and comment, and I'll catch you again in the next one.